Welcome to the second segment of our basic computer education course. In this segment, we will discuss the history and generations of computer. Computers haven't always been how we know them. Throughout history, computers have gone through phenomenal changes and upgrades. From the very beginning of civilization, mankind has sought ease and comfort. Thus, in order to achieve that, many inventions and discoveries were brought forth. Computers are no exceptions. It all started in 2700 BC with the invention of the abacus. The abacus, also called a counting frame, is a calculating tool which has been used since ancient times. It was used in the ancient Near East, Europe, China, and Russia, centuries before the adoption of the Hindu-Arabic numeral system. The exact origin of the abacus has not yet emerged. This device is capable of performing not only addition, but subtraction, multiplication, division, square root, and even cube root. Next up is the Pascal's calculator. Pascal's calculator, also known as the arithmetic machine or Pascaline, is a mechanical calculator invented by Blaise Pascal in 1642. Pascal invented the machine for his father, a tax collector, so it was the first business machine too. He built 50 of them over the next 10 years. Although there were more inventions further down the road, such as the stepped reckoner, arithmometer, comptometer, and comptograph, the ones that stole all the limelight and fame were the difference engine and the analytical engine, designed by Charles Babbage, the father of modern computing. These were all the machines that were used prior to the initial introduction of modern machinery. Then from the year 1940 began the era of the first generation of computer systems. The technology behind the primary generation computers was a fragile glass device, which was called vacuum tubes. These computers were very heavy and really large in size. These weren't very reliable, and programming on them was a really tedious task, as they used high-level programming language and used no operating system. First-generation computers were used for calculation, storage, and control purposes. The main first-generation computers are the ENIAC, EDVAC, and UNIVAC. ENIAC stands for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, built by J. Presper Eckert and John V. Mauchly, was a general-purpose computer. It had been very heavy, large, and contained 18,000 vacuum tubes. EDVAC stands for Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. It was designed by von Neumann. It could store data also as instruction, and thus the speed was enhanced. UNIVAC stands for Universal Automatic Computer. It was developed in 1952 by Eckert and Mauchly. The main component of the first generation of computers was the vacuum tube. It ran on machine language, which is hard to understand and operate on. It used magnetic tapes and magnetic drums as memory. They were very slow, but very large in size, sometimes even taking up entire rooms. After the first generation came the second generation of computers from 1956 to 1963. Second-generation computers used the technology of transistors rather than bulky vacuum tubes. Another feature was the core storage. The use of transistors made it possible to perform powerful operations and with due speed. Processing unit, CPU, memory, programming language, and input and output units were also introduced within the second generation. The second generation of computers were comparatively cheaper, faster, and smaller in size compared to the first generation. Moving on to the third generation of computers, 1964 to 1971. During the third generation, technology evolved and shifted itself from transistors to integrated circuits, also known as IC. A single IC has many transistors, registers, and capacitors built on one thin slice of silicon. In this generation, high-level programming languages, such as BASIC, were introduced. It allowed for a more user-friendly and easy approach. IBM 360 is an example of a third-generation computer. Fourth generation of computers, 1971 to present. In 1971, first microprocessors were used, the large-scale integration, LSI circuits, built on one chip called microprocessors. The biggest advantage of this technology is that one microprocessor can contain all the circuits required to perform arithmetic, logic, and control functions on a single chip. The computers using microchips were called microcomputers. This generation provided even smaller computers with larger capacities. After large-scale integrated circuits, LSI, came very large-scale integrated circuits, VLSI. The Intel 4004 chip, developed in 1971, located all the components of the PC from the central processing unit and memory to input-output controls on one chip and allowed the overall computer size to reduce tremendously. The concept of private computers and computer networks came into being within the fourth generation. The fourth generation of computers introduced devices such as the keyboard, mouse, printer, scanner, and various other input and output devices. Now to talk about the fifth generation that stretches from the present to the future, mainly centers around AI, otherwise known as artificial intelligence. It allows computers to behave like humans. It is often seen in programs like voice recognition, area of medicines, and entertainment. Also within the gaming field, it has shown remarkable performance, where computers are capable of beating human competitors. Fifth generation of computers mostly include portable devices, such as desktops, laptops, tablets and smartphones. There are other devices as well, such as smartwatches, smart home devices and more. That was all for the history and generations of computers. In the next segment, we will discuss the hardware and software. We will also discuss their differences and have a deeper look into how they work and why they are needed.